Okay. Today we're going to talk about the Gettysburg Address. Today is October 3rd, 2022. These are your standards. And this is the one we will cover today. RI 11.6. Determine an author's point of view or purpose in a text in which the rhetoric is particularly effective. Analyze how style and content contribute to the power, persuasiveness, or beauty of the text. These are your vocabulary words. Give you a few minutes to write them down. You can't see what this. Okay, your first vocabulary is dedicated. What does it mean? Your second one is consecrate. What does that mean? And hallow. These are your essential questions. These are the questions that you need to think about as we go through this lesson. What do the documents have in common? How has America evolved? Has these documents stayed true to its words? And has all Americans benefited from these documents? We've already discussed the Declaration of Independence, and this was written during the time of what? And why was the war? Why was there a war? What was the colonists trying to do? Take over. What were the colonists fighting for? Independence from where? Great Britain. The Declaration of Independence say, this is the important part of it, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people, to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Remember these. What words in this phrase, in these two paragraphs, stand out to you? Life, liberty. And what else? The key in this document. All men are created equal. Yeah. Okay. Then we talked about the preamble to the Constitution, which says, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. What words stand out in this? Okay. So with the Declaration of Independence, it said all men are created equal, correct? And the preamble say that we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union and justice and everything equal for all men, right? Is that true? Or was that true? This scripture says first from 1 Corinthians 13:13, saying, now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these three is charity. What is charity? What is charity?
Charity.
Faith, hope, and what else?
Faith, hope, and
Love. Charity is love. And everything that you do, you should do it with love, right? You should do it with the idea that everybody is equal. Am I correct? Okay. So when we talk about the Gettysburg Address, we were talking about Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. And at this time, Abraham Lincoln has won president. But he had lost as a senator early because he wanted slaves to be free. And the people in the South didn't like that. And so what they did was they started to withdraw from the Union, the South. Eventually, Abraham Lincoln won president because he swept the North. The North supported him. And in his presidency, he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforth shall be free. But because the South didn't want that to happen, they broke away, started to pull away. So what happened because of that? The divide between the North and the South. The who? What happened? Yes, the Civil War. And the Civil War is fighting within yourselves. That's what that is. So you had a union that was North and South. And they separated because they wanted, one half wanted people to be free, and the other half didn't. And so they started to fight. And this Civil War was known as one of the bloodiest wars. Sit up, Joseph. Everybody sit up. It's known as one of the bloodiest wars. And so during this war, there were many generals that lost their lives. And Lincoln kept appointing people until he finally appointed Grant. And Grant eventually was able to make some progress. And because of this war, Lincoln decided to write the Gettysburg Address. And this address was written to calm down the tensions that was created during this war. Now I'm going to read this to you. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here. but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. So in that speech, what else, what did you hear that you've been seeing all the time? The phrase in this speech. Hmm? For the people. And that all men are what? Created equal. So do you think that they say these things was built on Christian principles, were built on the foundation of God? Do you believe that? Because now, even though the Emancipation Proclamation was written, that didn't free slaves completely at the moment that it was written, because it had a lot of stipulation in it. There were some parts of the Union that could free slaves and other parts couldn't. There were a lot of things going on, but eventually they were finally considered free men. So do you think that all the people that fought, because at this time, black people couldn't join, but they allowed them to join the military and the Navy. And so it became where everybody just fought for the freedom of men. And so today we live in because of what they did then. So let's take us to these essential questions. What do the documents have in common? The Declaration of Independence, the preamble to the Constitution. Freedom for who? You need to sign it. Ross. What else do the documents have in common? It said freedom, though. Freedom for who? Okay. What was the first freedom for? We just answered it. The Declaration of Independence was written because of what? Freedom from Britain. And what's the second freedom? What's the second freedom? We just got through talking about it. What's the second freedom? Why was the Emancipation Proclamation written? Why was the Emancipation Proclamation written? I just said this. Why? No. Why was the Emancipation Proclamation written? To do what? Not to vote. To free slavery. Has America evolved from it? Or how has it evolved? They're no longer slaves. But what do we become slaves to, though? Yeah. You're no longer owned by people, but we still are what? Slaves to what? To what? How has America evolved? From the time when all these documents was written and all these wars going on, how has America evolved today?
More right. More freedom. More freedom.
More freedom. More freedom to do what?
Vote. Do other people.
So now everybody have rights. Women have rights as well as minorities have rights. Has these documents stayed true to its words? No, it has. How? How do you know that? Because you just know what. You know that it didn't stay true. The Declaration of Independence said that what all men are created equal. But what was going on? Yes. And so did that mean all men were created equal? No. Has all Americans benefited from these documents? No, they haven't. We doing it now, but then they wasn't. These are some facts about the Gettysburg Address. Take a few minutes and write them down. After you write your note. Remember that you're going to see this again. We're going to talk about this if you haven't already talked about it in U.S. history. You, you're going to see this again. Because I know you wondering, like, why we in English class talking about history. Because they're all the subjects cross over. Okay, I'm going to pass this out to you. Y'all need to keep up with. You gonna see it again. Sign that thing with the. Okay. And I have someone to read the information that you see on the board. One person, please. Yes.
Abraham Lincoln gave this speech to 15,000 people at the.
On the right here.
Oh. Abraham Lincoln gave his most famous speech on November 19, 1863, a few months after the Battle of Gettysburg, in order to dedicate the battlefield as a national cemetery. It is considered one of the most, it is considered one of history's all-time best speeches. After you read and
Interpret
the meaning, consider the mood and the purpose for the speech. Represent it along the way you think President Lincoln would have said it.
aloud. Okay. Need someone else to read the facts underneath it.
Facts about the Battle of
Gettysburg.
The Battle of Gettysburg was fought in Pennsylvania. It was in July and very hot. 9 generals died, 5 Confederate, 4 Union. It was the bloodiest battle of the Civil War. More than 51,000 Americans were killed,
Maimed,
or missed.
President Lincoln.
President Lincoln redefined the Civil War as a battle for freedom and democracy with the famous 273
word speech. And that's the speech we've been talking that I just passed out to you. Okay, again, why was the Civil War started? Because what? What did I say the civil is? You fighting where? Within. You fighting within. And who were the two sides that were fighting in the Civil War? Okay, and why were they fighting? Who wanted to keep slaves? What side? Okay. And how did Abraham Lincoln win the presidency? How did Abraham Lincoln win the presidency? Because he wanted the slaves to stop. And so who pulled away from him? Who didn't support him in that decision? The South. You're correct. The people in the South. And so he won by sweeping the what? The other side. The people in the South pulled away from him, so he won by sweeping the what? What's the other side? The North. It's a civil war. It's a war between the North and the South. And he wrote the Gettysburg Address because of what? What was he trying to do? Because it was considered what? The Civil War was considered the what? Bloodiest. Yes. And so Lincoln decided to write this speech because he wanted to calm the raging sea, so to speak. Bring us back together. Because there was so many killed. And in his presidency, he wrote what's the other thing he wrote? Say it. And what was the Emancipation Proclamation written to do? To free slaves. Did it happen right then? No, it did not. Okay, and again, what did the documents that we've discussed over the past, what did all of these documents have in common? When you talk about the Declaration of Independence, the preamble, the Emancipation Proclamation, this Gettysburg Address, what were their main theme of all documents? Freedom. And what else? Coming together. Yeah, equal rights. Created, men all created equal. But were men always created equal?
Attention teachers, please pardon this interruption. Please allow the following students to report to the auditorium at this time. Nikiria Gilmore, Alandria Gandy, Nala Green, Ariana Gilmore, Deanna Johnson, Jemiah Harris, Sierra Turner, Clara Streeter, Daviana Lucas, Jariana Broom, Kendra Hunt, Anaya Ellis, Sanaya Prayer, Skylar Perez, Asia Keys, Mackenzie Gladys, Jocelyn Edwards, Shakayla Wilson, Kalia Davis, Jasmine Banks, Cesaria Jones, Destiny Baker, Amira Hananu, Asia Hodges, Mariam Crane, Ashanti Miller, Savannah Carter, Maya Hurt, Amaya Spencer, Taleza Thomas, Jaleesa Somerville, Morgan Kimbrough, Janiyah Hall, Taylor Scott, Jakeviana Johnson, Erica Hinton, Shelby Streeter, Kendall Johnson, Tremari Burnett, Selena Crane, Kayla Washington, Kalia Davis, Caitlin Thomas, Amaya Peebles, Brittany Bailey, Elijah Montgomery, Nyla Fant, Diamond Crockett, Lakendra Fluker, Autumn Hinton, Zion Brown, and Yakila Stasher. Please allow those students to report to the auditorium at this time.
Okay. I've passed out a sheet to you, the Gettysburg Address. On the back of that sheet, you have questions. I want you to answer those questions on the back, the first two questions. It'll take a few minutes to look at the question. Number one, the first question. Mm-hmm. According to Lincoln, what did our fathers create 87 years ago? Fourth on this continent, a new nation. Okay. According to Lincoln, the Civil War is a test of what ideal? Yeah. Say it. Read it. Okay. The Civil War testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We're going to take a few minutes and I'm going to let you answer the remaining questions. and then we'll discuss them. Take a few more minutes to answer the remaining 3 questions.